We are back. This is Cotswold District Council Live. Welcome back to Cotswold District Council Live. Back by popular demand, I'm sure you'll agree. Now, this is a show where we keep you up to date with what's happening in your district. We keep you posted about everything that the council is doing, and we allow you to question us, your elected representatives, directly. I'm your host, Councillor Joe Harris, the leader of Cotswold District Council, and I'm thrilled to say that today I am joined by my colleague, Councillor Jenny Ford, our Cabinet Member for Health and Wellbeing. Jenny.
Thanks, Joe. We're broadcasting live today from the Barn Theatre, and in this month's episode we'll be providing a COVID-19 update for the Cotswolds, celebrating our local communities and businesses, and sharing with you how your council is driving real and sustainable change throughout the district. We think it's important that you get to know what your local council is doing, ask us questions, and help shape the future of the district. As councillors, we can't get everything right, we know that, but we can get close when you talk to us.
Well, we'll be covering many important issues that affect people's everyday lives. We also want you to help us shape future content so that these programmes best reflect the needs of our community. You can submit your questions live, and we'll get to as many of them as we can when we get to the Q&A session at the end of the show, so get those in by commenting. So tonight we have a Cotswold COVID update. So for the main feature this evening, we wanted to provide a quick update on how the district has got on through the pandemic and congratulate both residents and all of our businesses for your perseverance and ongoing commitment to keeping the Cotswolds safe. With the government's new three-tier system in place, we all know how important it is that we all remember to follow the guidelines to make sure that we here in the Cotswolds stay in the tier 1 of the local COVID alert levels. The local COVID alert level for the Cotswolds and wider Gloucestershire is currently tier 1, which is called medium risk. So what does this mean? Jenny, you're our Cabinet Member for Health and Wellbeing. Tell us about it.
Well, Joe, it can all seem very complicated, and while we are in the lowest tier of risk at the moment, we can't afford to be complacent. But I totally get how following the rules can be challenging if we're not sure what they are. So, to help, the government guidelines for tier 1 of the local COVID alert level states that the social contact rule of 6 remains in place in all settings, both indoors and outdoors. You must remember to follow social distancing rules when you meet, wash your hands regularly, and wear a mask when in public and in closed spaces. You work from home wherever possible, that is really encouraged. Leisure centres, gyms, youth clubs, shopping and retail remain open. And hospitality remains open with some restrictions, including a 10 p.m. closing time and table service only.
Thanks, Jenny. I think we've got a short clip that you filmed earlier in the week about the importance of sticking to the guidelines and 3 simple actions we must all take to keep protecting each other.
Hi, I'm Jenny Ford, Cabinet Member for Health and Wellbeing on Cotswold District Council, and I'm reporting to you today from Fairford, here in the heart of the Cotswolds. I wanted to start by saying a huge thank you to you, the residents, businesses and visitors for all that you have done and your perseverance in these challenging times, keeping our town centres welcoming and safe places to be. With the government's announcements of the 3-tier system, everything can seem a little bit confusing. But there are 3 things really that you need to remember. Number 1, you need to wash your hands regularly with warm, soapy water, or if you don't have that, antibacterial gel. And 2, just to remember to wear a mask, especially if you're inside or going into local businesses. And number 3, always remember to keep 2 metres apart, or 1 metre if you're wearing a mask or have other precautions in place. Due to your resolve and perseverance in the Cotswolds, we remain one of the lowest risk areas, and we're still on the lowest tier. I, for one, would like to keep it that way. So thank you very much for all your efforts in keeping us all safe.
Great stuff, Jenny. Some important tips there. I'm sure everybody will agree. And I think you'd agree with me that everybody has done such a good job so far in trying to keep everybody safe. And yeah, thank you to everybody, all residents and businesses who've worked so hard to make sure that COVID-19 isn't allowed to spread in our district.
So the past 7 months have been a challenge for all of us, from adapting to an ever-changing set of rules, which we've just talked about, and to coping with new family and workplace dynamics. And throughout this period, it's truly our local communities that have shined through. We have seen an incredible response to COVID from our residents, and in particular, we've seen an extremely well-coordinated response from local groups in Bourton-on-the-Water with their street volunteers, Fairford, Lechlade and Tetbury, to name just a few. There's also been some inspiring work by our voluntary sector partners, such as the Churn Project, Cotswold Friends, Cotswold Counselling, Citizens Advice Bureau, Home Start and our food banks. And we know that there are many more. Community groups from across the Cotswolds continue to do some great work in moving on from COVID and getting on with what they do, despite the challenges. Many sports clubs are back up and running safely, and even some events have been able to adapt and operate in a safe and socially distant way. It has been sad to see so many events across the district cancelled, but we would like to thank you, our residents, businesses and visitors, for demonstrating how patient and resilient you are as we work our way through this crisis. And I'd like to say again, an enormous thank you to all the key workers in our public services, emergency services, NHS, teachers, and not forgetting all the volunteer sectors from around the district and the wider county for their inspiring efforts to keep where we live in the Cotswolds a safe and welcoming place to live, work and visit.
Thanks, Jenny. And we're really looking at celebrating our staff at the District Council as well. They've shown incredible grit and determination to our communities and indeed our staff, and we'd love to feature more examples of that. So please reach out to us, comment and contact us if you want to feature our communities. So yeah, as I mentioned, we want to celebrate all of the staff at Cotswold District Council and our partners for their admirable work throughout this pandemic. And like many businesses across the Cotswolds, the council's had to adapt to new ways of working. And one of those, like so many others, is finding new ways to contact our residents. And since April this year, our customer service teams have been dealing with customers from distance. And they've dealt with nearly 75,000 inquiries, both online and over the phone. Over 57,000 of those inquiries have been made via the phone, but we're also seeing a large increase in self-service through our new and improved website. Customer satisfaction levels remain high, with 98% of survey respondents pleased with the way their call was handled and over the last few months. 89% of those would usually have visited our offices and said that their inquiry was resolved over the phone at the first point of contact, which is great news. I would encourage anybody who requires help from the District Council to please engage with us online via our website or by contacting our customer services team via email. Email customer.services@cotswold.gov.uk, or if you'd like to use a telephone, call 01285 623 000. And I would just say as well, we're really working hard to make our council offices COVID safe, and it's our hope that in the not too distant future we'll be able to reopen, because I know some people still like to visit the office, so we're working hard on that. But of course, safety must come first, your safety and that of our staff.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about rubbish here, Joe, because we know,
Not
don't
like you
we?
to talk rubbish, Jenny. I can't believe it. Like.
We know, don't we, how important it is that people's bins are collected. And we certainly hear about it very quickly through all of those methods if they're not. So we'd like to say a big thank you to all of the hard-working crews at Yubico. Not only have we suffered crew shortages due to the pandemic, but we also introduced a brand new waste service in the district in the early stages of the lockdown. We've got the latest figures for recycling in the Cotswolds, and in Q1 of 2020, Yubico collected over 2,500 tonnes of recycling. And that's an increase of almost 500 tonnes of recycling when compared to the same time the previous year in 2019. This is an incredible achievement from a service level, but also for the residents and the environment, in that recycling rates are on the up. It's important, though, that we continue to ease the burden on our crews during these challenging times, and also remember the reason why we do the recycling in the first place is to reduce our carbon footprint and to reduce the amount of waste. So we mustn't forget the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle.
And finally, I just want to say a big thank you to our environmental health officers for their work in supporting businesses adapt to the new normal, and in particular our finance team for their work in helping to pay out the government's business grant scheme. To date, as a council, we have paid out £37.5 million to businesses from around the Cotswolds. If you've got a story you'd like to share with us on the show, please reach out. As I said, you can post your comments to us on air by sending it to our social media accounts, or email customer.services@cotswold.gov.uk. So building back better, we've heard this phrase bandied around a lot, but what does it actually mean? So last month, Jenny and I and our colleagues adopted a new corporate plan, which sounds quite boring on the face of it, but is a very important document. It outlines our key objectives and priorities for the next 4 years. Those corporate priorities are the following: responding to the challenges presented by the climate crisis, providing good quality social rented homes, delivering all services to the highest standard, presenting a local development plan that's green to the core, helping residents and communities access the support they need for good health and well-being, and supporting businesses to grow in a green, sustainable manner and to provide high-value green jobs.
This pandemic has really demonstrated how our health underpins our lives and how we can no longer take our well-being for granted. And it's really helped us to focus on what's important, and our plan is really ambitious as a result. But we are confident we can innovate to drive real change for the better.
Now, to help ensure that we deliver on all of these ambitions, we have appointed a new Chief Executive. He's a chap called Robert Weaver, and he's the current Deputy Chief Executive at Tewkesbury. He starts in the new year, and we're really excited to have him because he started his career at Cotswold District Council, so it's come full circle. He started at CDC, he's gone away, he's got experience under his belt, and he's coming back to help us deliver on that ambitious agenda. And of course, I also want to thank Christine Gore for the integral work that she continues to do as our interim Chief Executive. Superb. And Christine, if you're watching, thank you very much.
I'm Mike Evenmy. I'm the Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Finance with responsibility for parking at Cotswold District Council. We're here in the brewery car park in the centre of Cirencester. It's a sunny Friday morning. As you can see, there's lots of people coming and going, doing their shopping, doing their other business in Cirencester, and it's great that they're using our car parks to do that. Just wanted to update people on some changes that have happened recently. You can see behind me we've got free 20-minute bays. We've now got 4 of these here in the brewery, 4 over the way in the Forum car park, and then we've got 2 up in Morton in Marsh and 2 down in Tetbury. So these are for people just popping into town, just need to do a quick errand, maybe you're on your way from one place to another. It's available there for people to use, so we'd encourage people to use that if they're only going to stay for a short time. We've also introduced a new app called Pay by Phone. It's free to use, so there's no administration charge like there was with the old one. It enables you, if you download it, if you've got a smartphone, you download it onto your phone and you can pay for your parking without even leaving your car. Great if it's raining. All you need to do is put in the location of the car park and how long you want to stay. So really much encourage people to do that. If you don't have a smartphone, you can pay on the machine using your card still, but we have plans for removing cash from our machines in the new year. That's because, one, we can save £35,000 a year. in collecting the cash, but also because we've had vandalism and theft incidents at the beaches in Cirencester, Bolton on the Water, Stow on the Wold, and actually we think that people are now adjusting to paying by cash. We go to the supermarket now and they want you to pay by card rather than use cash. So we think the time is right to do that. It'll be easier for people to, we're making the new app free so that it won't cost you any more. But if you don't have a smartphone, you can use your card on the machine, either contactless or chip and pin, where you put your pin in like you do normally in a shop. So that's a big change that we've got coming up, but we think that will be a benefit to people, and the new app is great. So you get it from the Apple Store or from Google Play. Download it on your phone, do it before you come to the car park, and then you've got it all set up. All you need then is the number of the car park to put in and how long you want to stay. If you've been in our car parks since September, you might have noticed that we're asking people to pay a little bit more when they park in our car parks across the district. The reason that we've done that is because when we came in as a new administration last year, we had to find £1 million of savings in the council's budget, and the biggest single contributor to that is the car parking changes that we've made. So in a full year, in a normal full year, we expect the changes we made to the parking prices to deliver £400,000 of extra income to the council, and that's money that we can then use to support our priorities, like tackling the climate emergency, providing social housing for people, and helping our economy recover across the district. So thanks, so far in September, and now we're obviously into October, we've seen that the numbers of people using our car parks is actually stronger than it was in August. So it doesn't seem to have had any negative effect on the numbers of people using our car parks. And obviously that's great in terms of for the traders in our towns across the district, that they've still getting people coming in. It doesn't appear to be putting people off. And thank you for the residents and the visitors who are having to pay a little bit more, but it's going to the good of the services that we're providing for people across the district.
Some great info from Mike there, and please remember that we have a number of flexible parking options in the district, from 20-minute free parking bays, the continuation of the free after 3 p.m. scheme in some of our car parks, and of course, as Mike has been talking about, a new free smartphone app that you can pay for parking with. And of course, you can still pay with cash and by card in all of our car parks. And in recent months, you might have seen online that we've produced a few light-hearted videos to promote some of these changes. Do you want to see them, Jenny?
Yes, I'd love to.
Great. Fair warning, guys. Prepare to cringe.
Hi, I just put the kettle on. Do you want a cuppa?
Oh, that'd be nice. I don't think we've got any milk, though. I'll give Mike a ring now. He's on his way in.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, hang on. Hi Joe.
Oh, hi Mike, how you doing? All right.
Hi Joe, I'm good. You?
Good. Yeah, I was just wondering, would you be able to nip into the supermarket and grab some milk on the way, just so we can have a cup of tea when we meet?
Should be able to, yeah. All right, be with you in 10 minutes.
Brilliant, great. I'll see you in a minute. Thanks. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye. I'm here in our new 20-minute free parking bays. There are 4 of them here in the Forum car park in Cirencester. There's 4 over the way in Brewery. There's 2 down in Tetbury, and there's 2 up in Morton in Marsh. We've introduced these to give people just popping into town, probably locals who need to get a pint of milk or pop to the bank or do a few errands, just a little bit of free parking time to be able to do that. I'm heading off now to get my pint of milk. Hi Joe, there's your tea.
Oh, Mike, you're a star.
Did you take advantage of the 20-minute free bays?
Yeah, I did. It was brilliant. Right in the town centre. So in and out of the shops and got your milk, no problem.
Fantastic. Hi Mike, you right?
Yeah, hi Joe. Not so great. I forgot my wallet.
Oh, so you can't pay for parking?
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem, yeah.
Oh dear. I paid on my phone, so that's too bad, isn't it?
Oh, great.
Sort out your parking.
We've launched a new app to pay for your car parking. It's called Pay by Phone. You can use it at car parks across the Cotswolds and there's no charge for using it. You can also pay using your card on chip and pin or contactless, and for now you can pay using cash. Download the Pay by Phone app through the Apple App Store or Google Play.
It was very fun to record that, but I have had some absolutely mortified people message me. And yes, I am aware of how cringy it is, and that was the point. It was to get the message across, and I think it worked, to be fair, because I've had quite a lot of people coming back to me. So, yeah, good fun, but the outtakes reel will probably be more fun. Now, in our final segment, we're going to be taking a look at business in the district. My colleague, Councillor Tony Dale, who is the Cabinet Member for the Economy and Skills here in the Cotswolds, met with Anne-Marie Thurgood from Cirencester Chamber of Commerce earlier in the week to talk about economic recovery and how businesses are adapting to the new normal. Let's take a look.
Hi, good afternoon. Many of you will know me. I'm Tony Dale, the Cabinet Member for CDC, for the Economy and Skills, and I'm very excited this afternoon to be coming to you live from the Northleach station, Cotswolds Radio, which has only just been set up this year, partly in response to the coronavirus pandemic, but also to really support the community and business in the Cotswolds. And I just want to start by saying a really big thank you to all of the businesses in the Cotswolds. Everybody who is trading today has been working so hard this year. No one, I don't think, has found it easy. Some businesses have had a fantastic recovery, let's be honest, in July and August, and that's been great. I've visited some of the tourist centres, they've been fantastic. Equally, some of us have found it really hard. I know that some of our supply chains have been difficult to manage. I know that many of us have struggled to get the business in we would like. But let me just say that Cotswold District Council is right behind you, it's here to support you, and I want to talk to my guest this afternoon about just what that's been like and how Cotswold District Council can continue to support our businesses during 2020 and beyond to really help you get the most out of what you do. Thank you. So my guest this afternoon, I am delighted to tell you, is Anne-Marie Thurgood. She is the current president of the Chamber of Commerce in Cirencester, and also the director for Athena Web Designs, a fantastic web agency based in Cirencester. And let me go to you, Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, Anne-Marie, tell me a little bit about your business and how you've managed through the latest coronavirus pandemic.
Okay, so we offer digital marketing services, predominantly websites, but also search engine optimization and social media management. We maybe at the beginning it was a little bit of a struggle because a lot of customers panicked and everything was frozen, but then I think it hit home to everybody how important digital marketing was, especially with everything that was going on. So then we started seeing a kind of shift really in our customers' reactions.
And you've presumably you've kept all your staff going, have you, or have you had to furlough any staff?
We've been really lucky. We've managed to keep all our staff intact and very busy, which is good news. We kind of know, and we're very grateful that we've been a very lucky industry, really. You know, we have quite a large customer base, a very mixed customer base, I'd say, and you know the stories aren't all the same across.
And so I'm particularly keen to understand there will be businesses, some of your clients, your customers that have had to furlough staff. How have you helped them to stay in business and really achieve sales, I suppose?
So I would say from a support point of view, they've obviously on skeleton staff that maybe would manage the websites normally. So if they have got in touch, because obviously certain members of staff aren't trained on the website and they've asked us, can you update things? We've done that, and where possible we have tried to do that free of charge for them. We've also tried to offer any services like adding COVID notices and making sure that they're informing their customers of the procedures that are in place.
That's brilliant. And tell me, for some of those businesses that have had to operate with fewer staff, have you been able to tangibly help them keep their businesses going?
I would say by adding the notices and managing their website, that has helped, and obviously making things easier. So if, say, someone wants to book anything, we've been able to add functionality onto the website, which means it can happen more automated.
Yeah.
So it means they're not stretched to things. Some of them were furloughed and they still needed that help. They still needed those extra members of staff, even though they weren't there. So where we've tried our best to make it as easy as possible for them. So I'd say, for certain customers, we have been able to help them with that.
That's just brilliant from my point of view. So many of the people watching will know that where we've had to have businesses furlough staff, Cotswold District Council has issued millions of pounds of business grants to keep those businesses going, and I think that's been really important from the businesses and directors that I've spoken to. But one of the things I want to remind people is that they can come to Cotswold District Council, and particularly if you're a retailer, you can work with CDC to sign up for Maybe. Maybe is a business that helps you understand the internet of conversations so that you can figure out how to use social media better and do some social media training to learn about just what you can do to get more traffic to your website. Now, in many respects, that's what lots of businesses are trying to do. So maybe if we go to a wider question now, perhaps Anne-Marie, how's the Chamber of Commerce been getting on? What have you been doing for your members?
So we moved our meetings to virtual so that we were still there to offer advice. Our networking meetings have included speakers that can help. So we've had accountants that have been able to advise on the furlough scheme, any grants that are available. We've had people also to help with mental health, for that side of things, because can be very stressful, especially for smaller businesses because they're more on their own. So that's something that we've done. And also sending out regular newsletters with relevant information, so links to the District Council's website, so anything current that's coming up, the members are kept up to date. Also, any support that our own members can offer each other, we've told everybody about that. More social media posts and things such as that.
Perfect. So let me come back to this question about, are our businesses making the most of, I suppose what a lot of people will new normal. New normal is where we've got to be more digitally enabled. We have to be more capable about how we bring businesses in online and through e-commerce, as well as just through the front door if we're a retail business, or even if we're an IT consultancy. We still need to contact more people, and we can have a much more proactive presence online. Now, would you believe, we've been doing economic surveys throughout this period, and still nearly half of our businesses in the Cotswolds are not digitally enabled. They don't have this reach through social media or a really up-to-date website. Now, this seems to me a perfect topic to ask Anne-Marie about. So, Anne-Marie, I'm a business. I'm not really very conversant with the digital world. I'm a bit scared of going online and having an e-commerce website. What would you say to me?
I'd say don't be. At the end of the day, it's a lifeboat, especially with what's going on at the moment. You need to find an agency that you can tell by speaking to them they're going to support you. So the questions you should be asking is what type of training you're going to be provided, what type of, say, user manuals, things like that. That there's ongoing support for you. That you're going to get your hand held. There are off-the-shelf solutions, but the only negative for that is the fact that you are very much on your own to a certain degree. You are having to sift through all the manuals to find out what you have to do. That was all I would say, is sometimes it is worth paying the extra money just to get the job done well. But yeah, there is help and support available. So, for example, like our business, we offer free consultations where we will advise about those cheaper versions that are available, because it's just about trying to get people online and trying to help.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I mean, just to give you a little bit of help here, just imagine if you haven't really had an online presence or you've never sold over the internet before now, it's far cheaper than employing another member of staff. And if you can sell online as much as you would expect a new member of staff to sell, then it has to be a sensible thing to think about. I do hope Anne-Marie and I have been able to reassure you this afternoon, and I do really want you to know there is help out there. You know you have the Cirencester Chamber of Commerce there to support local business. You have Anne-Marie's brilliant website business, of course, and Cotswold District Council is here creating the right environment for you, bringing customers into Cirencester and supporting our residents to encourage them to shop local. Thank you for listening, thank you for coming in, Anne-Marie, and keep watching. So, just before we wrap up, one final plug. Business Forum, Cotswolds Radio, first programme, 29th of October, 11:30. Come and listen in, tune in, go onto the website, cotswoldsradio.com. Fantastic opportunity for you to hear more about the detail behind the government's furlough scheme, how you can get help if you need it, and the sorts of things you need to do in getting yourself business digitally enabled. Hope you can join us then. I look forward to hearing more from you.
Big thank you to Tony and Anne-Marie there from Cirencester Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to go now to our Q&A session, which is, where the show has its roots, really, wasn't it? It started as a Q&A session, and we've had a number of questions in advance of the show. So we're going to go through those first. But if you've got questions, pop them in the comment section, and we will do our best to pick them up and answer them. So first question comes from Sean in Stratton, in Cirencester. It's a question around cycle lanes, and I won't read the whole question because it's quite a long one, but a flavour. The current cycle lane network in Cirencester, and indeed in the Cotswolds, is fragmented and stretches are shared with pedestrians. With priorities unclear and lanes not marked, I feel we need a fully interconnected, well-marked and signpost network to enable safe cycling, especially for his children. Isn't there a real opportunity to capitalise on investment in public transport infrastructure and make Cirencester and the Cotswolds a great place to move around? By getting more local residents to walk or cycle into town, it would also free up more spaces for those coming into town to park. Can you update us on what plans there are to put in place cycle infrastructure? It's an issue that we care passionately about at the District Council, and we totally agree with your observations, actually. You go around some of our cycle lanes, it's like a third world country, really, with the size of the potholes in them. Jenny, you've been in touch with Rachel, who's our Cabinet Member for Sustainable Transport.
I have, so this is literally hot off the press, or hot off my phone. She has given me a comprehensive response, as she always does, because she's absolutely brilliant. She said, as a district, we are always at a disadvantage re active and public travel funding, and as a rural district, we are doubly disadvantaged because it can feel like the county pays more attention to the big population centres. And as a result, we have decided at Cotswold District Council to employ our own sustainable transport officer to pull together a comprehensive plan for the district that we can use to negotiate better with highways and even lobby government directly where needed. We are determined to do everything we can to prioritise active and public travel over a car-dependent economy, and our commitment to this new post is the first step in getting together the evidence we need to demand the infrastructure and funding from the layers of government above us. And believe me, if you have met or ever even heard Councillor Coxcoon speak, you know that that is going to happen.
Yeah, Sean, tip to you. Give Rachel a shout, because she'll be able to talk until the cows come home about trying to improve the cycle network in the Cotswolds. But it's something that's certainly on our agenda as we look to invest in sustainable transport to help tackle the climate emergency. Another question here from Mike on Twitter. Any plans to join the 21st century in the Cotswolds and install some accessible electric vehicle chargers? Well, Mike, we hear you, absolutely. There are plans, and unfortunately, in terms of our own car parks in the district, we've had a bit of a snag because of COVID-19. We passed a cabinet report at the turn of the year, which basically the pathway to having these installed. We were hoping we'd have them installed by now, but the company we were going to go with, unfortunately, looks like They haven't been able to get going again since COVID-19. So we're working hard to try and get some installed, and of course we want them installed yesterday, but you have to just be a bit patient with us. We are totally committed though to ensuring that we've got adequate electrical vehicle charging points, because it's the future. So yes, absolutely. I've got another question here. Claire Gardner on Facebook. I think, Jenny, you can probably answer this as it's in your ward that you represent. Can you confirm if Foss Cross is still closing for 6 weeks on November the 1st? I was there at the weekend and the staff were unsure. If it is closing, sorry, Jenny, they were unsure if it is still closing, but the online booking system has been suspended from that date. Jen?
Yes, I was there at the weekend as well, Claire. I love going to the tip. It's so very cleansing. So yeah, we were very concerned, as you obviously are, that it was going to be closed for 6 weeks. I gather that the local county councillor and various other people have been on about this. So at the moment, it is not closing, but there is no revised date as yet. So the latest is it's not closing, which is good news. But we'll try and keep you informed on that one.
Okay, we've got one from Corinne here. In Cirencester, please can you look into the reversal of plans to bring back a better service at Cirencester Hospital, particularly the blood department? And Corinne, I've copied you into, she said, I've copied you into emails, the last one sent last weekend. Corinne, I have seen them, and yeah, we'd all agree that it's regressive when we're reducing the services of our local hospitals, and certainly I know it's unanimous across the political parties here at the District Council that we want to see our community hospitals invested in and not cut. That is absolutely the position of the District Council, and it's incredibly frustrating when we see services reduced. Good news is it looks like we're getting some movement on blood services at Cirencester Hospital. It looks like they've listened to public outcry about the issue, and hopefully the service will get better. But obviously as a District Council we don't have any jurisdiction over it. We can only lobby, but we are behind you, and we will use whatever clout we have to try and ensure that we've got good local community hospitals, both here in Cirencester, but also up in Morton in Marsh at North Cotswold Hospital, and in some of our smaller hospitals such as Fairford and Tetbury. One for you, Jenny. This is from Holly on Facebook. How ready is Gloucestershire for its increase in COVID-19? How can we include isolated people? How can we get them back into our communities and on the streets? And what's the status of the playground rules at Morton in Marsh? So some quite detailed questions there, but Jenny, you'll give it your best shot, no doubt.
Yes, I will. I think I'll just talk in general. I mean, basically just to say that there is a rise in cases, there is a rise in the R rate in Gloucestershire and in Cotswolds in particular. So yes, there is an increase, and yes, it is serious. But I have every faith, as I'm sure you do, Joe, that residents are going to do the right thing, as they have done all the way through this, and remembering the hands, face, space, but also that we care about each other, and we will continue to, abide by the guidelines and look out for each other. And I think that's all that we can ask at this stage.
Thank you, Jenny. We've got one here from Dorcas, who lives in Avening. No questions as such, but wanted to thank you for promoting the pay-by-phone parking app. Initially, I was a Luddite about this. I have discovered, however, how easy it is once it's set up. And the best bit, being able to extend another hour while sitting in a cafe. This could really benefit business, as it makes life easier for people to spend more time in town. Well, Dorcas, thank you so much for the feedback on that. Whenever there's change, people are sort of a bit uncertain, but quite often once you embrace it and you understand how it works, it can really benefit you, can't it? And I'm one of those people. I'm quite traditional. I like paying in cash. Everything's moving to contactless and card, but it does make life a bit easier if you know how it works. But yeah, I think the key point is any changes that we make as a council, we'll make sure that we do it slowly, and we put a communications plan in place so we can help people, and importantly, help people that struggle to use with new technology, etc. So yes, thank you, Dorcas. Gordon on Facebook, can you address the GCC imposition of a blanket open-ended ban on socially distant visits by relatives to loved ones in care homes? How does your adult care team believe this helps when the care home staff are the risk vector? Does CDC have any authority to enable homes like Hunters here in Cirencester to demonstrate protocols to allow visits? What tier is Cirencester in COVID terms? So 2 questions there. Do you want to start on the last bit? Which tier is Cirencester in?
We're tier 1.
Excellent. So medium risk. And about the care homes?
And about care homes, I'm pretty sure that we have no authority to enable homes, unfortunately, to demonstrate their own protocols. So I'm really sorry. Obviously, it is really distressing, but we do know, don't we, that these care homes are really, really important, that they often have our most vulnerable residents living in them, and we do have to take extra care. So I think it was always going to be a tricky time, I think. You know, the last lockdown was easy because we were all in it together, and there's a real tendency to look back at that time as through rose-coloured glasses, as we were all in it together. But this time it's different. It's different rules for different places, for different people, for different, you know, villages and towns and where you live in the country, and it can feel very, very confusing. But I think we just have to continue doing what we're doing, and I hope that things will improve in the coming weeks.
Great. That concludes question time, and as I said, keep the questions coming. We'll be back in a month's time to answer even more. And of course, in the meantime, you can email and contact us through the traditional means. So we're getting to near the end of the show now. There are a few things that we want to sort of run through. I've been joined by this pumpkin that it's great, isn't it? I know our team have been working very hard on this pumpkin. Only joking. Wendy in our print room has done a great job pulling this together, council logo and everything. But yeah, some important messages around Halloween. Jenny, do you want to sort of run through some of those?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, we want to wish everyone in the Cotswolds a safe Halloween and bonfire night. I'm going to go into mum mode quickly. Please remember to follow the government guidelines to ensure everyone is kept safe over the coming weeks. COVID-19 doesn't mean Halloween is cancelled. That was a question that I was asked earlier today. Is Halloween cancelled? But residents are being urged to find fun, alternative ways to celebrate safely. I drove through Stratton on the way here, and there were lots of Halloween scarecrows and things in the garden. So that's obviously the way that community is getting around it. So here's a few quick Halloween do's and don'ts. Do wash your hands if you are touching treats from outside of your home. Do wear a face covering if you're spending time with people outside of your household or bubble. And do come up with your own fun and safe ways to celebrate Halloween. Do obviously recycle your pumpkins. I hope you're going to be recycling that, Joe, after you've finished with it. Don't gather in large groups or more than 6. Don't get close within 2 metres to people from outside your family group or bubble. Don't eat treats unless you have washed your hands before. I think that was always the case, to be honest. Don't hand out treats if you have any symptoms or are self-isolating. Don't leave out those self-serve bowls of goodies this year. And don't go to people's homes if you think they might be vulnerable. If you want any more information around Halloween and bonfire night safety, then please visit the Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue website. There are some more details on there.
Jenny, thank you. And you did play mum there a little bit.
I did.
You know, I felt like I was going to get telling off. But no, great stuff. A couple of other things I just want to talk about. Clearly, it's going to be a very different remembrance event this year. Remembrance is still happening, and of course the Royal British Legion has launched its poppy appeal for 2020 this week. And every poppy makes a difference to our armed forces community, everyone that's sold. So what I'd say to you is if you can get a poppy through traditional means, going to a shop, do please continue to buy a poppy. But if you can't get out, or you feel a bit unsure about going out to buy a poppy, you can do it online. Please make a donation. It's really, really important. The Royal British Legion look after our armed forces and our service personnel, and it's really important that we continue to support them. A couple of other bits. CDC will be holding our annual budget consultation next month, starting from the 4th of November. So have your say. We'll be doing a lot of comms around that. It's really important that, you know, a lot of people have strong feelings about the way their council tax is spent. It's important that you have your say, and this is the opportunity to do that. Before we go then, I just want one more thing to add. I've been asked by our electoral services team. As we know, there's a large election, isn't there, happening in the oh, I've dropped something. Happening in the United States next week, and it's really, really important that we take a lead from that. We've seen record voter registration, and we must do the same here in the Cotswolds. So our electoral services team at Cotswold District Council, headed up by the fantastic Sarah Dolby, has been busy doing our annual canvass. If you haven't already registered to vote, make sure you do, because there's always an election just round the corner. Got a few months until our next one, but please register to vote. It's really important to do that. That's all we have time for. on this episode of Cotswold District Council Live. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Jenny, thank you to you for being with me. Over to you.
You're very welcome. We'll be back, I gather, this time next month, and we'd love to feature more from our communities. And if you have a story you'd like to share with us, please contact us on customer.services@cotswold.gov.uk for the chance to be part of future episodes.
You can rewatch the show anytime, and please share with your communities, your neighbours and families. And remember, you can get all of the latest updates about CDC from our website, from our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube. We cover all of the main ones. And I've been asked by our comms team, Sarah Black, who I know is at home watching. She's got nothing better to do with her evening than, can you believe that? Well, we're glad to have you, Sarah. She's asked us to plug the Cotswold District Council Business Matters newsletter. So if you're a business in the Cotswolds, Google that and sign up for it. Thank you for watching. I'm Joe Harris. That's Jenny Ford. You've been watching CDC Live. See you next month. Thank you.